Welcome to the Sisterhood of Sweat. It's Let It Rip Friday, and it's truly Let It Rip Friday because today is Friday and I'm getting it done. I have been quite busy, quite a few dreams coming up, which I'll mention once they're done. I'm not superstitious, but I like to make sure they're completed before announcing. So I just want to talk about never giving up, never quitting. Sometimes it feels like forever when we're doing something, like we're doing it, we think we're never going to get there, or it doesn't feel like whatever we're doing is working, like possibly we're running through mud, we're running, we're stuck in cement, and it can feel endless. But if you keep on going, if you keep on plowing away, if you keep on working, keep believing, keep getting back up, which would be my number one thing to tell you, you're going to get there. And I am going to start us off with a quote by Babe Ruth, one of my favorite baseball players. It's hard to be a person who never gives up. And if I could say one thing, uh, it would be never, like, it was like a speech one time. I can't remember if it was Winston Churchill or who. I'll have to look this up after the podcast, or you can chime in and tell me. But the speech was never, ever, 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 never quit. Like it was just basically that. And if you get anything from me today, I hope that it's that because you don't reach goals that you never set. You don't reach goals that you give up on. You're never going to reach them if you give up. And sometimes what we think we bring to this goal or what we think is why we're going to achieve this goal is further from the truth. When I won Fitness Universe this summer, I've delivered like amazing, outstanding routines. I have been definitely in better shape. And it wasn't the leanest I've ever been. And so it was just, I just kept dreaming after I ripped my hamstring from the groin with bone fragments, after I ripped my other hamstring, getting back up 7 months after that, after I ripped my groin completely from the pelvis with bone fragments again. I felt like one, two, three punches. I am down. I am out. And I mean, I'm dramatic. It felt like the end of the world. Like, I'm never going to be able to live my life as a champion. Like, I'm never going to meet anyone cool again. But nothing could be further from the truth. I met most of the coolest people I've ever wanted to meet. Mel Robbins, Eric Thomas, Jay Shetty, all these people, which I could go down the list and you would be like, okay, Linda, that was definitely wrong. And felt like I wasn't going to be able to achieve my dreams. So far from the truth. So I can think back to a time when we get a little emotional when I thought, how am I ever going to make it? Right? I was a young mom, 28. I had to leave because of domestic violence. It should have been enough that it was against me, but it started turning to my children. And that was the week I was out. And I left. I left with nothing. And it was a struggle. I remember we were at my mom's because I had to be afraid to stay on my own. He was stalking me and, following me down the highway, was in my car, headlights in the alley. It was a scary time for me, not gonna lie. And I was grateful to have a soft place to fall. My parents, my dad, my mom, They totally took me in, pitched in. We were living in one bedroom, me, my son, my daughter. That, we had bunk beds and I had my bed. That time though, I look back on that and that was the closest time. We were so close. And even though, excuse me, take a breath. One of the worst times of my life, it ended up okay. Everything worked out. I've achieved all of my wildest dreams. Today, my children are college graduates. I went to school. I own a business. It's doing great. God has blessed me beyond my wildest dreams. And my kids are self-sufficient and they're no longer kids, living adult lives. My son is putting amazing music. He's such an amazing musician and a baker because you got to pay the bills. Um, that's my oldest, Michael, and my youngest son, Jake, just had his movie at Cannes, France, being recognized with standing ovations of 6 minutes, being sold, and now it will be in American theaters. Riddle of Fire. Um, college, all three college graduates. My daughter shooting people for the cover of magazines like Jane Fonda, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Ellen Page, Laura Dern, just all these products like Sephora, Refinery 29, even dogs, which I think she loves dogs, so that's kind of cool. But I'm just saying, it seemed like a time to give up, like you would never ever make it. Okay. I'm here to tell you if you're in a terrible situation today, it can be a terrible situation for years, or you can leave and start anew and start fresh and have a whole new chapter, a whole new book, right? When we stop tolerating things that should never be tolerated, when we say no and we take a stand and we stand up to our giants of fear and we move forward. So I didn't mean to get off on that tangent, but I hope it touched someone out there. And I also remember another time where I felt like I'm dramatic. I had built my business up for 5 years in this place, working around my kids. It was ideal, 10 minutes down the street. And the owner one night on New Year's Eve is like, hey, no more private contractors. And I'm so like dramatic, emotional. I cried because it was New Year's Eve. We just got home from a party. It's supposed to be all about new dreams and new beginnings. It was new beginnings. And, I would have stayed doing the same old thing. I would have stayed stuck, not realizing what my potential was, not realizing that I could reach my wildest dreams, not realizing what I was truly capable of. And I bet it's the same for you. There are people getting let go today from corporate jobs that they thought were secure, that they thought, I'm going to ride this out to retirement. And what's really secure, you're not going to fire yourself. You're going to put the work in for your dreams. And actually, the bigger the dream, the more you're going to put the work in because it's something you really actually want. It's something you're really actually passionate about. If it's a so-so dream, you're going to half-ass it, right? And so, you know, what I cried about on New Year's Eve, I celebrate now. It's continues to grow. The Sisterhood of Sweat podcast, we're on our way to 1 million downloads, and the Sisterhood of Sweat is growing. It's amazing. It grew through the pandemic, and now it's really starting to grow again. And I mean, it's a community of women that support each other, that hear and see each other, that have each other's back. Check it out. Go see us on Sisterhood of Sweat. Come to the gym. If you guys are traveling, come and see us. And just join us in this sisterhood. And it's just, I always wanted a sister, but I also wanted a soft place to fall, a place of support, which I needed once upon a time. And God heard my SOS, and He hears your SOS if you're in a bad situation. Maybe you're in a miserable relationship, a miserable marriage, a miserable job. It can all change today, but it takes tough decisions, is what I would say. And so, again, on the never quitting, never giving up, you know, I was flat on my back with a hamstring ripped from the bone and on a scooter for months. And God gave me my dream gym during that time. I wasn't able to lift a finger. That's when He can show up in a greater way for you. And you just have to believe, trust, and pray. And so, you know, that's when my vision came in because I stopped doing so many other things that I was able to realize I'm more than just my body. I being strong was all I knew, and realize that there is somebody that cares about us and cares about our dreams, that we can put our faith in, our trust in. So that happened, that was another moment where, you might feel like quitting and giving up. And, I probably I didn't have that many members at my small little gym. And here I am flat on my back, but my staff showed up so wonderfully that I just couldn't have done it without them. So I appreciate them so much. Or I say people that we work alongside each other. And then again, ripping all the other things from the bone, I was like, okay, I don't see, even though I competed with a fully blown hamstring, I didn't realize it was blown. Um, I did not then, after all those injuries, I realized I needed to surrender, stop, look, and listen. What was God trying to tell me? And I took that time. I promised God I would not compete for 3 years. I didn't. I took my time to rest. I think it was probably longer than three, but I'm not entirely sure. But and then I kept dreaming that I could do a fitness competition again. I kept seeing it in my mind, and I mean, several dreams like that. And then one day, I thought, I think I might be able to do this. I went to the doctor. The doctor cleared me, sort of, and I came in and I was like, okay. I started out with a cartwheel, and then I went into my round off. Then it was the 4 point explosion, round off 4 point explosion. And I was afraid each and every time that I did it for a while. And so I wasn't expecting to win anything, to be a champion. I was just, I wanted to get back up. And the theme went so perfectly with what I was going through at the time. And I was like, this music couldn't have been planned any more perfect for this moment in time. I had gotten a routine. I had someone just take out the unsafe elements in case you're worried about me. And I thought, I think I could do this. And 3 months later, I'm the fitness universe champion. I would not at 60, okay, that's why I say never give up. Never give up. It doesn't matter. You're only ever competing against yourself, and it doesn't matter how you get there. Just don't quit. Don't give up. Think about all the people you're going to inspire. You're going to inspire yourself, and think about, you know, what a testimony that is to how God heals our bodies, right? I mean, it's really miraculous. I mean, my physical therapist had to talk with me like, hey, I mean, she like sat me down and was like, after the third injury, you think maybe you should hang this up? And I was like, I hear what you're saying, but I could never say I was quitting. I could never say, I just felt like I had a championship in me. I felt like I am a champion. even though I didn't remotely look like one, I gained 35 freaking pounds during all these injuries during COVID. I didn't even resemble myself, but I still knew there was the heart of a champion in me. And I believe there's a heart of a champion in you. And we all can arrive at our wildest dreams. But the key element is never to quit, never to give up. And again, here's another thing. I shot for a cover, and the photographer, this was way back at Miss Fitness, I think maybe 2006, 2005, he lost, he didn't back it up. He didn't back it up. So he lost everything. So that cover didn't come to fruition. And I still had that dream. God knew I had that dream. But somewhere inside of me, I just thought, well, maybe that's come and gone. It's kind of a lofty goal at 60 years old. But then, I don't know, during the pandemic, I remember I just started dreaming again. And I knew that God was in charge and that I had stopped dreaming, but I thought, you know what? Our dreams are not canceled and God is in charge. So I just started writing down my wildest dreams. I put God first in everything. I had completely surrendered after all this happening. And He gave me the desires of my heart. He gave me my wildest dreams. This isn't Linda Mitchell. This isn't in my own strength, in my own power. You know, this is definitely a little supernatural, I think. And I will say, I started at the bottom when I started competing, right? So, anyway, yes, I did achieve my cover goal. It happened automatically, really, after I said what my dreams were. It just automatically happened. Started with the billboards. Then, it started with some writing an article and somebody putting me on the side of a building. And that was overwhelming because I had imposter syndrome. I'm like, who am I to do this? You know? And I remember thinking how preposterous when they put me on the side of a building. That was overwhelming to me. People were asking, what building are you on? So, but then, you know what it did? It made me realize, why can't we be on the side of a building? Why can't you have your wildest dreams? Is there any reason why you couldn't have your wildest dreams? There isn't. Maybe things that false narratives that we build up in our mind. But when you start asking yourself, how can I achieve this? How can I do this? That's when the doors will open for you, like they did for me. And then also uh, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. You have not because you ask not. Ask and you shall receive. All of those things, they're true. I know they're like in the secret, but I think it's actually a universal truth because God created it. So his laws work. And so to me, again, I said, I want to be on more billboards. I want to reach more women. I want to reach a 500,000 is what I said. Now I've upped it to 1 million women. And I mean, that was a lofty goal for somebody that was scared, speechless. Like I was afraid of public speaking 100%. I never wanted to do it, but I feel called. And so, all of those things, just amazing. And now I'm going to be soon on another cover at 61, reaching more women than I ever dreamed. And you could be reaching your wildest dreams. It doesn't matter what's happened to you. It doesn't matter what somebody's done. It doesn't matter if you lost your job, if you're out on the street right now. None of that matters. That is not who you are. That's what's happened to you. And you can change that story any moment. You can change your story anytime you choose. And I just want to encourage people, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you have dreams, go after them. And if somebody gives you pushback, let them give it to you. Don't stop. Don't quit because of somebody's opinion, someone's pushback, somebody that doesn't understand what's inside of you. Show them. Show them the money, like the movie says. All right, you guys, I hope you've enjoyed this Let It Rip. And as always, never, ever, ever quit. Never give up on your dreams. And we'll reach our wildest dreams together. Tell me what your dreams are. I'd love to know. And follow me on Sisterhood of Sweat at Instagram. Rate and review, a 5-star review this podcast, and share it with your loved ones and your friends. And as always, keep on keeping on. Bye, everybody. Mwah! Love you guys.